What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande, bringing you the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS live stream here for Friday's 10-game main slate. James, I don't know about you, but my bracket's already been busted with Ohio State losing to Oral Roberts, so it just allows me to focus more on tonight's NBA slate than constantly checking to see how my bracket's doing, because it no longer matters. So that's one for me. How's your bracket holding up, and how are you feeling about tonight's 10-game slate?
Well, my bracket doesn't have Ohio State going very far. Shout out to Kangas, man. I'm sure his is completely dead in the water. One of our loyal subscribers. But no, I mean my brackets, all my four teams are in so far, 4 games in. So I guess I'm doing a little better than you, John.
Slightly better, but like I said, let's turn our focus here to tonight's 10 game, or it's quite the banger. We have some top names here. Obviously, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, James Harden, just to name a few on the slate. Some very high point total. Sacramento, Boston, sitting at 232. Utah, Toronto's at 231 and a half. We have Minnesota, Phoenix even at 232. So, I mean, we got definitely some certain games to look to target here. A couple high point spreads, some good matchups, a lot of goodness to close out the week.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a little intrigue in your voice for that Minnesota Phoenix total. It was 231 on Thursday, and they went over. So
they did. I was more so again with the 11-point spread because
right.
High spread but high total. It kind of makes you wonder if you can really get the value. Will Anthony Edwards drop 40 points again? I think he was the third youngest player. I think it was to get a 40-point game. Whatever that tweet was that was sent out there, where Anthony Edwards is joining a company as the youngest 40-point scorers out there. So he's on this slate. We'll get to it. We'll see if he's in Sean Mitchell's playbook, because he did the playbook earlier today. He's got the core plays out as well. So let's just kick it off at the top. We got Luka here. It's going up against Portland. Portland's on a back-to-back. I don't know if that worries you at all, but it's a fantastic matchup for guards. It's been a fantastic matchup for Luka as well. Top play for you on this slate?
Yeah, it is. I'm definitely interested the way that this line has moved, John. And it started at 334 or 234, and it's down to 227. What do you make of that? A lot of betting the under there, huh?
I think it has a little bit to do with the back-to-back, if I had to guess. But yeah, I think maybe it's a little surprising to see the total open at one where it did, and then kind of bid all the way down. So
that scare you at all?
Not really. I don't think so.
Not for Luka. Not on like the Luka front. Probably more on the Dame front, or like the Portland side of things.
Yeah, I think more on the Portland side. I mean, they're only getting 3.5 as home underdogs here. Second night of a back-to-back, like we mentioned. So, I mean, they've had trouble playing defense all year. But, CJ McCollum is back. I don't know if we've seen any word on him being sitting or limited on the second night to back-to-back. It hasn't popped up yet. Still plenty of time for it to happen. It's a 10 o'clock game. So we definitely have to be on the lookout for that. But, no, I'm not worried. Luka's here at the top. There are, in terms of top-priced players on FanDuel, he's fourth. Jimmy Butler is priced higher than he is Nikola Jokic and James Harden, all topping the list ahead of Luka here. So great matchup for Luka. It's a 10-game slate. There's certain value. We talked about this on the podcast last night, that there is a lot of kind of interesting value at the point guard position tonight, where maybe going stars and scrubs at the position on FanDuel makes a lot of sense. So you're going Luka. Other guys that he has that we're certainly taking a look at. De'Aaron Fox has been unreal lately. He's getting Kemba Walker defense and a good matchup there against Boston. In low ownership projected in that one as well, which I find appealing. But we liked a lot of the mid-tier, James, that stood out to us. Who are some of your favorite mid-tier in Sean's play?
I mean, Kemba against Sacramento, obviously, I think stands out. But I love Delon Wright. And he's looked great. He's playing big minutes, even with Dennis Smith Jr. active, even with Frank Jackson starting. Delon Wright's been the guy. And whether John Wall is there defensively or not, they're going to give up a lot of points, Houston is. So Delon Wright is a triple-double threat. Almost saw one last time out. And I like Delon Wright quite a bit here in the mid-tier. Probably one of my favorite tournament plays of the entire slate.
I'm in agreement with you. We saw him go off on that, like you said. It's a great matchup. Wright fits a lot of, I think, builds tonight as well, where you'll see him be rather popular. But I mean, with Steph Curry not likely to play tonight, you have to take a look at someone like Jordan Poole.
Yep.
I think we said Poole was a shooting guard on DraftKings.
Shooting guard, yeah, 4,500.
Point guard on FanDuel. But then another name that you mentioned, and on the pod and a lot today in our conversations, is Nico Manion. He did start that last game that Steph had missed. He's been in their rotation regardless. So he and Jordan Poole both increasing their playing time lately. Even if Manion doesn't start tonight, he's a mid-price play, and you have to think he's good for 20 to 25 minutes off the bench as the backup guard. And it's still a really good matchup against Memphis.
Well, I guess my thinking is I'd actually expect Manion to start and have Jordan Poole off the bench. And that's because Jordan Poole has been so good off the bench. I don't know if Kerr would want to disrupt that. So I actually expect Manion to start and Poole come off the bench. It could be the other way around. I guess they haven't really given us word on the lean there.
Right.
But I have to think Manion's in our player pool at $3,200 on DraftKings.
And you mentioned that it was Manion who came into the game when Curry got hurt to start the second half the other day. So, that also sort of further backs your feeling there. And Manion's $3,200 on DraftKings tonight, $3,500 as a mid-price play on FanDuel. So we should be expecting high ownership here pretty much regardless, I think, especially DraftKings, where you can play 8 guards, if you need to do so, for $3,200 on a big slate like this. So Manion should very much be in your player pool tonight. We'll see if he gets added to the playbook later. If Sean Mitchell's watching the live stream, maybe he finds his way in there. Let's look at the shooting guard position. Harden, again, at the top. Our draft forecaster has Harden as, I think, the highest owned player of the slate. You and I have talked a lot today about our feelings on Harden and Kyrie Irving coming back, and this matchup against Orlando. Do we worry about it? Is Harden going to be hanging out in the Florida strip clubs where he's not really paying attention to what's going on? It's a 10.5-point spread. I'm less bullish on James Harden than what our draft forecaster is showing. I don't know. I'm probably not playing Harden tonight. I like Luka too much. I like Jokic too much. Harden's probably not going to find his way into my lineups, and at the end of the night, that could end up burning me, but it's where I'm leaning.
I mean, I can't fault anyone ever for playing James Harden, especially when there's no Kevin Durant, and it's essentially Harden and Kyrie. And we're seeing Harden, the assist total is 15, 15, 10, 8, 14, 15. He is... When he is going and we're getting peak James Harden, we're getting 80 fantasy points. So I can't fault anyone for wanting to play Harden. I also can't fault you for leaning Luka or Jokic because, we said it on the podcast. We've kind of been talking about it all day. We think those are the top 2 spend ups of the slate. But I think Harden is in the same tier, same discussion. So if you'd rather play Harden, by all means. That just kind of says to me, in cash, we play Harden, maybe. Maybe we shouldn't be fading Harden, at least in cash games, if he's going to be that highly owned.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you there as well. One of my other favorite plays here, Fred VanVleet is $7,800 on DraftKings tonight. This is a guy that at times is almost $9K. I just feel like that price is a good number to attack. He wasn't really limited in his return either. He played over 30 minutes. I know it's Utah. It's been a matchup we've tended to avoid, but then we saw Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal just tear them apart. And Utah is actually on kind of a slide lately as well, maybe regressing a little bit. They're on the road here. I think there's some pretty good upside here from Fred VanVleet.
I don't hate it. The fact that you mentioned he played 32 minutes in return after nearly a month absence is super appealing. I don't know. I like Oladipo around him like around that same price tag. I love Anthony Edwards. I've told you that throughout the day. I like Devin Booker. If Minnesota can keep this game close, I mean, Devin Booker went for 35 actual and 50 fantasy points at same price as Van Vliet. So I like this tier that Van Vliet's in. He'll definitely be the one that goes overlooked. So if you want to, from a tournament perspective, I definitely like it. Looking at it from that angle.
Where are you looking at the middle tier here? Anthony Edwards. Do you run it back to him after his 40 plus fantasy points last night?
Yes. Per what I just said, I do like Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
I think Wiggins is fine. I think Wiggins is going to be pretty chalky, and I think on FanDuel, Karis LeVert is still grossly underpriced at 5,600. Even though
I was reacting to Sean's LeVert message, so I missed your Anthony Edwards thing. So my apologies.
It's okay.
On that one. But how often do I listen to what you say? So usually,
not very often.
Usually not often.
Not.
Any other guys that you're looking at shooting guard? Any value particularly jumping out to you?
I don't love the value tonight at shooting guard. I mean, like who stands out to you? Like, I would be willing to go back to it. I know Jalen Noel's a point guard on FanDuel, but he has shooting guard eligibility on DK. I'd be willing to go back to that in tournaments. We mentioned Jordan Poole as a shooting guard only over on DraftKings. So obviously Jordan Poole is the play. Tim Hardaway has shooting guard eligibility on DraftKings. He started last game, played 37 minutes. We've now seen 30 minutes out of Hardaway in 3 of 4. He's shooting the basketball well, and we like to get Hardaway when he's shooting and scoring the basketball well. 15, 21, 24 actual in 3 of his last 4. So probably Hardaway, Noel, Poole in this lower mid-tier, upper value tier section.
At small forward, again, James, you and I, when it came to Jimmy Butler at 10-6, we weren't huge fans. Draft Forecaster has him being 36% owned.
I don't know, man.
I don't know either. I hope that's the case. I hope that 36% of the field is going to go play Jimmy Butler. I don't see me going there. And if some people are going there, it means they're likely not playing both Luka and Jokic against me, or Harden and Jokic. Like, Bam coming back, we saw Butler's numbers dip a little bit. Not saying that he can't produce 60 fantasy points with everybody healthy, because he had been doing that. I just don't want to pay 10-6 for him when Luka's cheaper, right? Like,
yep.
To me, I'm off. I'm not going to play Butler. 9,500 on DraftKings. Any interest there?
I mean, I think you think about it more at 95. I don't have much interest at 10-6 though, personally. But 95 is okay. I mean, we could play Jaylen Brown for $3,100 less on FanDuel against Sacramento in the best matchup on the board. So
we are getting some injury news here, James. Michael Carter-Williams, Terrence Ross, once again, both ruled out. We'll see if more Magic news breaks. We had Fournier active yesterday. We had Aaron Gordon active after missing a lot of time with it being a back-to-back. We'll see what happens there. Do you go back to Chas and Randall at all?
Probably. It's a better matchup. He played 30 minutes. If this game blows out, they don't really have a secondary option. So, yeah, I think we do go back to Randall personally.
And then we get where JaVale McGee is ruled out tonight for Cleveland. We already like Larry Nance. Not that it will impact Larry Nance any at all, but we're on small forward. Nance is a cheap small forward on FanDuel tonight. How much are you in on Larry Nance?
All in. And if no one's going to play him again, just looking at our draft forecaster, why wouldn't we use him in any and all formats, especially because he can play backup center? I mean, that's where he started when he was with the Lakers. So, yeah, I think Larry Nance is a shoe-in for all formats.
We actually liked a lot of the value tier here at small forward last night. Who else are you taking a look at?
Definitely Saddiq Bey. I like Saddiq Bey quite a bit. I know he's coming off a big game. Are we chasing? Are we not? I mean, he's playing big minutes. He gets a really juicy matchup against the Rockets. And, I mean, he flashed the upside that he can give us, and this isn't the first time this year he gave us this type of this type of performance. So I like Sadiq Bey. Larry Nance is a small forward. Will Barton, I've been playing quite a bit lately. 33 or more fantasy points in 4 straight, and we didn't talk about it, but Michael Porter coming off a massive 28 actual point game. He's now scored 20 or more in 5 straight. 20 or more actual in 5 straight, 33 or more DK points in 5 straight, and he gets the Bulls. So those would be like the mid-tier to value guys that I would be taking a look at.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one as well. Power forward, we go back and forth a lot on Sabonis. Where do you stand on him tonight going up against Miami?
I don't know, man. Like, you can do it. Do I think it's a priority? No, I think Jason Tatum for a couple $100 cheaper is in a much better spot. But Sean Mitchell's school of thinking in tournaments tells you to play Sabonis, honestly, because everyone's going to play Tatum if they're spending up a power forward. So,
and we've, like we said in his analysis there, we've seen Sabonis go triple doubles. So I
mean, the offense is running as good of a player Malcolm Brogdon is. The offense is running through Sabonis with Brogdon and LeVert playing off the ball. So. If you want to pivot off Tatum and go to Sabonis, I think Sabonis has flashed more upside than Tatum. I'll say that. Tatum has been really consistent lately, though. So, and he gets a matchup against Sacramento. I think this is the spot that we can get the upside from Tatum.
Mid-tier here, Jeremy Grant gets Houston. We know we love this Houston matchup. Draymond Green had a triple-double the other day, actually scored 16 points, and we talked a little bit on the podcast. If Oubre's out, who's questionable to play tonight, and Curry's going to not play either, the offensive opportunities for Draymond is there, and for whatever reason, he continues to be $6,600 for a guy that's like almost nightly giving you 45 to 50 fantasy points. To me, he's just like a core build around for me tonight.
Yeah, I would like to point out Kelly Oubre upgraded to questionable.
Yeah.
Not that depletes or diminishes any of Draymond's value. I just think it is worth mentioning. I don't get their algorithm, and the fact that he's put up 50 in 2 of his last 3 games, like that really doesn't make any sense to me. So, I think Draymond is as close to a core play as it gets. Like, I don't get Wiggins ownership, I guess, almost 48%. And then you look at Draymond
You don't get
it? I'm saying, I think Draymond should be the one getting 43% of the love compared to Wiggins. I get the price is different, but how many times has Draymond given us 50 compared to Wiggins giving us 50?
Yeah, I mean, I understand. So I get why the attraction to Wiggins, because I feel like most group think would be like, who's going to score the basketball? It's going to be Andrew Wiggins, right? Like, he's going to be the guy primarily taking the Curry scoring role, in your opinion, or in, I think, most people's opinion. He's also very cheaply priced.
Yeah, it's probably priced $5,200, no Curry, right? I mean,
it's matchup against Memphis. It's opportunity with no Curry, no Oubre, and it's price tag. So, more people are going to fit him into their builds tonight for all of those reasons. So, I think you can play them both, obviously, and we already talked about liking Manion and Poole. It wouldn't be the first time this year that we've played 3 or 4 guys on the team. So, I know. Generally those guys have all been 3K, and we've had no other opportunity to do so. But, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility throwing there. On the flip side of that matchup, I really liked Brandon Clark. I talked about it last night on the podcast that we're sort of game theorying here. No Wiseman. If Golden State is going to play small, generally, for whatever reason, Memphis will match playing small with Clark instead of playing big with Javale, and that could give higher potential for Brandon Clark in this spot. So I think if you're game stacking, for sure. If you're playing cash games, I think Clark is very safe. He hasn't always had the most GPP pop. But, he did give you 35 fantasy points, I think it was a couple of games ago. So, he could be there. It could be the spot for him. So, him in the mid-tier. Jeff Green, he has listed the playbook, but you and I kind of like Nick Claxton a little bit, we think, if we're, again, playing a little game theory.
Yeah. So I think Jeff Green is fine because he's been very productive, and whether he's starting or not, I mean, 2 straight of 30+ fantasy points. But Nick Claxton does a lot in a very short period of time. And if you do think that this game blows out, and obviously Terrence Ross and Michael Carter-Williams being inactive does not help that cause, then you can, in fact, play Nicholas Claxton. John, interesting lineup note here. Marcus Smart will start in the place of Tristan Thompson. What does that mean? I mean, we're pushing Tatum back to the 4 and
Jalen, so it's Kemba, Smart, Jalen, Tatum, and what I would hope would soon say Robert Williams, but it's going to be Daniel Tice.
Would you like that more? I mean,
yeah,
Sacramento's
Smart was
going
5K,
small.
right? Isn't that what his price tag was?
Smart is really cheap. I mean, Marcus Smart on DraftKings, I think is 50. I want to say 52. I have it open 53, and I think he's 52 on FanDuel. Okay. And he played 30 minutes or 29 minutes and gave us 29 fantasy points.
Right.
I think Marcus Smart is pretty safe. No.
Yeah, he's not bad. I mean, again, I can't ever say he's the third guy because Marcus Smart chucks. So Marcus Smart thinks he's the best scorer on the Celtics. So he's probably safe just from the secondary stats. Also breaking news with the Celtics, Brad Stevens says he's not leaving the team for Indiana. So good on it. Back to Nicholas Claxton real quick though. We talk about production in limited minutes here. These are his last 6 fantasy point production on FanDuel, 6 games, 34, 27, 11, 21, 20, and 28. Those are his fantasy points. The minutes in those games, 17, 16, 17, 17, 16, 22. So one game he played over 20 minutes. One game he had less than 20 fantasy points during that stretch. So this guy doesn't need a lot of time to do damage. He's 4K. Better play on FanDuel than DraftKings since he does block a lot of shots. But, if you think blowout tonight, 10-point spread, DeAndre Jordan maybe only plays 20 minutes tonight against Vucevic. Claxton can get out there, get some extended run. He's definitely a high GBP guy. Isaiah Stewart against Houston, $3,900 on FanDuel, also very viable as a value play. Minutes for him trending upwards as well, 24 and 23 minutes. The last 2 games for him, over 20 and 4 of the last 5. 3 of those last 4 games, over 20 fantasy points as well. Dario Saric and Jay Crowder are both 3,800. There's guys down there that we could certainly, talk about when it comes to some value. At the power forward position, it's an interesting spot for a lot of those guys.
Yeah, I pretty much like all of those guys, and I do think Claxton is in play, but tournaments only.
Yep. Center here, so we wrap this one up. Jokic against Chicago. I think this is I probably have him above Luka for me, just in this matchup because it is Chicago. And I like the middle tier of point guard. I think a bit more in terms of the upside that they bring to the table than center. Not to say that center isn't strong here, but for me, Jokic at 11K, I think just kind of takes the cake. Arguments can be made for Vucevic against Brooklyn, of course, and the middle tier there. You got Holmes against Boston, Jared Allen with no JaVale McGee now maybe becomes a little bit more appealing against San Antonio. Robert Williams against Sacramento at 5,700 on FanDuel. Another guy that I think a lot of people will be taking a look at.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really understand why Robert Williams still is being drafted at less than 10%. I'd assume that would go up, especially considering he's under 6K across the industry. I think Robert Williams is the smash play at center tonight. I don't see a way around that if you're not playing Jokic, of course. I think if you are playing Jokic, then by all means, you're in the driver's seat. But also, what do you think happens if Gobert sits? Any intrigue in any of those? Probably not, right? Derek Favors with 97-year-old knees on a back-to-back. They have Ersan Ilyasova now. I don't know what we would do there, but I'm just thinking what we do if Gobert were to sit. Would that maybe put you on Boucher a little bit in tournaments or?
Yeah, Boucher's fine. Everybody is back though for them, so
yeah, he's gonna play 20 minutes.
Yeah, he could just play 20 minutes. I probably wouldn't go there. 7,400. Holmes is 71. We mentioned Allen 67 on FanDuel. Robert Williams is 57. Pirtle, if you want to trust San Antonio first leg of a back-to-back, we know he can be very productive there. Whiteside with no Bagley, again, dart throw could be forced into some time at the very least as a backup. Kevin Looney, who started the other day, they're still down depth. He had 22 fantasy points in 23 minutes. He is somebody that could certainly find his way into some play there. And then Drew Eubanks. Again, if you're sort of a believer in the Spurs and their split rotations on back-to-backs, Eubanks has been pretty good the last 4 games. 23, 39, 17, 16 fantasy points, playing 18, 23, 22, and 13 minutes. The 23 and 22 minutes, though, were the back-to-back games. 14 and 15, he put up 39 and then 17 in the second game there. But 39 on the front end, if he's going to see 20-plus minutes tonight, I'm in price. If you really, for whatever reason, go crazy, Eubanks could be a guy to throw in there.
I think I would rather just play Kevon Looney at 3,200, knowing he's going to start. But, you can, if you want to get crazy, Drew Eubanks.
If you want to get crazy, it's there. Playbook's out, though. We'll be in Scrub Chat. It's 7:30, right?
7:30 lock, yeah.
7:30 lock, so we have the extra half hour. Invites are out for the DraftKings League, James?
Yep, they are. Yep,
so they are. If you want to get in the DraftKings League, message us your DK username. We'll give you an invite to that, and we'll get it all set up. But for now, good luck, everybody, and have a good weekend.